So talking about obstacles, what is your point of view if there are like several obstacles in your way, and what would you do?
Obstacles are lessons. And they challenge us for a very good reason. And usually it is because we need to develop the peace, patience, strength, calmness in the face of challenges. And I genuinely find in my own life that the more we become that peaceful, calm, patient strength, the less those challenges show up in our lives. Now, it could be that the universe doesn't feel it needs to teach us those lessons so much, but also it could be that when we become that source of strength, whatever challenge comes along, we don't even see a challenge. We just look at it as like, oh, there's something to do. Oh, this is an unexpected twist.
I mean, you like stop labeling it, right? That's what you're saying?
You stop labeling it, it stops being challenging. A challenge is only challenging when we have to like internally create that effort. And when it's effortless, they disappear. And I also like to think of it as the universe will genuinely send you less challenges, that we don't need to learn any more lessons when we reach that peak of peace, calm, patience, strength. And then nothing is going to test us. Nothing is going to trigger stress or anger response. That's what I think. It's everybody's journey. And sometimes learning to allow for someone to go through their journey is our challenge. No matter what's suffering, I mean, it's still our suffering. It may not be as much as the person who's going through the thing, but it's still suffering. And especially people who are highly empathetic will feel it personally, whatever someone else is going through. And that can be hard for many reasons. Number one, sometimes we know exactly what someone should do, but they won't do it. Sometimes it's because we don't have any support for ourselves, whereas this person has 10 people supporting them, but nobody's supporting those 10 people. So it is still an equally challenging thing if we take on that inner conflict to what's happening, which can be for the spectators or the person, for sure. And sometimes for a lot of people who especially have done this work, it can be harder to see someone go through it because we feel like we have the tools to go through it ourselves, but not so much to bear witness to suffering we can't do anything about. But that is just another level that we can reach, where we, make peace with that fact that everyone has their journey. We have our journey. Just like we have to go through ours, they have to go through theirs. And sometimes we can help, and sometimes there's nothing we can do. And sometimes helping hurts. Sometimes we think we're doing the right thing, but we could be not letting someone develop their own strength to overcome something, and we could be weakening them. So, it takes always that present moment mindful awareness to see not just what we can do, but the consequences of our action or inaction. Because sometimes you have to let someone go through something difficult themselves. Some people may be ready to help themselves, and we can show them how. But other people may want to just dump their problems on someone else, keep avoiding consequences, and so we could be not preparing them for standing on their own 2 feet.
But I've noticed the parents were too protective of their children, especially parents who had a very rough past. They would always try to make their kids like they get everything and try to give them a very calm and soft life.
Yes, I think kids are the prime example of that, where we want to solve everything for them, but we won't be around forever, and they need to learn to solve that stuff on their own, and we can help guide. And sometimes kids don't want to listen, and sometimes they need to make mistakes on their own, and that can be really hard for people. But it really is essential to develop that individual into a self-reliant, fully functioning person for the day we're not around. I always think of how baby monkeys, grow up at the top of the tree, swinging from branches, and it seems very dangerous, but this is how they learn the swinging, and it's essential. And sometimes I'll see people like young kids sitting on the ledge of a building, and I'm like, that is crazy. But they're probably going to be very good at that. I've seen videos of people doing crazy things on bikes, wheelies, standing on the seat, standing on the bars, jumping on and off. And my instinct is like, don't do that. But these kids have a balance and a awareness of their body like nobody else. And they probably break a few bones as they learn that stuff. But that is experience, and that is invaluable to learn. And we all do dangerous stuff. Sports and driving a car is dangerous, but obviously it's better to sometimes, you want to control those limits of danger, but sometimes, knowing the limit of what a car can do is important for when you're driving under less controlled conditions, and then okay, it's raining, I really do need to slow down, as opposed to someone just telling you to slow down. When I was a kid, I questioned everything too much, and one of those things was driving like a maniac. But if someone told me, took me to an empty parking lot and said, go nuts and, figure out what this car can do, that might have been a smarter thing to do than doing it on the road with other drivers. Safe, controlled danger. The illusion of independence and danger. It's probably that right middle path.
Todd, I remember once there was a time when you said that grief is a kind of a thing that your ego wants to cling on to.
Yes. Very often we feel subconsciously, usually, that it would be a disservice to the person we lost to not grieve, to let go of grief, and that it would be a indication of our lack of love or their lack of greatness. So I think that really almost everything we do, it's because on some level we want to do it. When we get upset, it's because we feel like it may serve a purpose. When we're unhappy, we feel like we should be on some level. When we get stressed, we feel like it serves a purpose, we'll be more productive. On some level, there is a desire, or it wouldn't be happening. And the more we understand that these things often come out of a fear of letting go of those things, then we can watch it without falling for it.
Because grief is something that like completely consumes you. It's like one of the hardest thing, I think, in the levels of spirituality.
No question. No question. That's the thing that most people look away from and can't stand to truly explore and examine. No question. I think part of that is because we never think about death, talk about it, and we don't want to even imagine it while everyone we love is alive, right? So it's just a continuation of that. Die before you die, which is such a profound phrase and has so many meanings. Some people think it means to practice that space of no thought, and that's certainly one of them. As well as to really meditate on your own death and to visualize how in 100 years everyone is dead. Every single person, and everyone else on earth has moved on. And also, the more we think about it, the more our day-to-day stresses just seem so stupid. And the more our I didn't achieve this, or I wish I did that, or even look how great I am and look how great I was and I did so much. It's like none of that matters. Absolutely none of it. Very few people get Beethoven status, and he will be forgotten in 1,000 years. If you're obsessed with fame, recognition, wealth, status, and legacy, those things will not come for you. Those things will not, you'll be long gone before that will comfort you. And there's never really enough, ask Vincent van Gogh. Just barely got by in his life, and then as soon as he passes and everyone knows he can't make more art, now it's valuable. So I think the fact that he spent his life doing what he loved, that's a great way to go.
Yeah.